I'm going to try something a little bit different for this video. There are a lot of topics going on in the game industry that I have things to say about, but not necessarily a lot of things. Also, I'm admittedly having trouble sorting out my thoughts for the next round of regular long-form videos, so here's the first Patrick Sounds Off lightning round. We'll see how this goes, and more may come in the future if it's well received. The Microsoft Activision purchase is the story that never ends, even though it should have the instant Phil Spencer presented Minecraft as a case study in how Microsoft would handle Call of Duty, and especially when he more recently declared his willingness to table a 10-year deal to keep the franchise on PlayStation. The simple fact that this involves Jim I Don't Understand Gran Turismo 2 Ryan and Activision, in the time-honored backdrop of Microsoft gulping yet another company, makes this a candidate for the douchiest thing to ever happen in the game industry. I never cared how it ended, I'm just sick of seeing it in the news. Speaking of the worst PlayStation chief in the brand's history, the pathetic spectacle Jim Ryan is causing in the Activision purchase is hopefully his death knell at Sony. Worldwide Studios chief Herman Hulst seems to be making himself the lead candidate as a potential replacement simply by countering every Jim Ryan debacle with relative consumer reassuring sanity. His most recent claim that PS4 support will continue as long as PS5 production woes persist is terrific, but apparently nobody told Insomniac, who are now stating that the PS4 is cut off, and that Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine will both be PS5 exclusives, so hopefully there can be some consistency in their messaging in short order. That may be neither here nor there, however, as Black Friday and the immediate aftermath show hopeful signs that Sony and Microsoft have actually put their pandemic-induced manufacturing difficulties behind them. Hopefully we can get through New Year's with consoles readily available to all prospective buyers, so that we can put this whole sad chapter in history's trash can, and 9th Gen can begin in earnest. I also hope that the companies have learned how to deal with shortages, so we never empower scalpers to this degree again. I'll be doing a full video on that in the future. I hope you're keeping an eye on your digital storefronts because Hamster is gradually building a virtual arcade selection that is getting up there with what Nintendo built back on the Wii with Virtual Console. The selection is truly impressive if arcades are your background, so give it a look if you feel so inclined. I recently picked up Moon Patrol for the Switch from this selection, and my free time is in a good deal of trouble as a result. Over at SmashPad, we're getting ready for our end-of-year features, and it's becoming abundantly clear that 2022 has been a pretty ass year for new releases, as a lot of us are having trouble even coming up with a list of 10 games to submit for Game of the Year consideration. Mostly, 2022 was carried by remakes, collections, and the odd Japanese title from years gone by that is only now getting localized. I blame the roughest generational shift in history, but I'm definitely on board with more remakes, collections, and missed imports. Let's keep that part of it rolling. I can't say from first-hand experience, but apparently 9th generation Pokemon is rough. Prospective buyers are going to have to decide if a severe lack of technical polish is enough to dissuade them from taking part in one of the most groundbreaking main series installments in years, because 4-player co-op in the biggest Pokemon world ever concocted is a compelling argument even in the face of sloppy development. Now I've made my choice, and all I can hope for is to pay well under the odds for it from someone who gave up on it way too quickly. In the stories I want to know more about but inevitably never will column, we have the arrest of Sonic the Hedgehog creator Yuji Naka on charges of insider trading during his cup of coffee at Square Enix. At first I assumed the best, that he maybe heard something from a neighboring office that made him look at his stock portfolio and soil himself, panicking and dumping a bunch of stock instinctively without the legality of it even being a consideration. Then the particulars of the case came out, and all benefit of the doubt went out the window. I want to know what he was thinking. I never will. But that's a headline that I never could have imagined. The Genesis Mini 2 arrived last month, and while it's a solid product on its own, I can't help scrutinizing the discrepancies between the list of games that we got compared to Japan. I suppose it's on brand, because you don't get more authentically 90s than fucking the West out of a host of amazing games that don't make it across the Pacific. Good thing retro minis can be modded though, right? On the bright side, the fact that the Sega CD installments of Lunar exist on any version of this device suggests that the rights conflict surrounding the series isn't as hopeless as it once seemed, and with much of the former studio reuniting to make upcoming RPG Loop 8, maybe we can hope for more tales from the Silver Star in the future. E3 is back in 2023, apparently come hell or high water, and I for one welcome it. There are a lot of people in and out of the industry that suggest benefits to decentralizing game announcements and presentations, but from a community standpoint, E3 is a brilliantly executed celebration of gaming to come, and there's just nothing like getting together with your friends to gorge yourself on press conferences and trailers, and in my case mountains of Chinese food to go with it, whilst finding out what you'll be spending the next year or two playing. There are certainly things it could do better to modernize, and I'll gladly do a video about that in the future, but honestly, I'm just happy that it's back. And that's all for now. Don't forget to pitch in with your comments on anything that I might have touched on here, as well as like, share, and subscribe. I'm Patrick Mifflin, sounding off.